surprise, new bag check is open in downtown Disney. We'll show you how it fits with the rest of the area. Looks like they're still digging at Haunted Mansion, but there's a plot twist. But let's start with our top story today. We're getting a dead end again at Critter Country. Disney put out a statement the other day that they are in fact going to have to close the Hungry Bear, the Davy Crockett canoes. In fact, that entire Hungry Bear trail that leads to Galaxy's Edge, all of that is going to have to be closed for a little while as part of the ongoing construction at Critter Country. Hungry Bear will be closed. The Davy Crockett canoes will be closed. That little fruit cart next to the secret path, that'll be closed. And as I mentioned, the entire path from Critter Country to Galaxy's Edge. My expectation is that they're going to put that wall up somewhere around the exit of the secret path, although it's possible they could run this all the way back to Haunted Mansion if they wanted, or to the Harbor Galley. They could have a dead end at the Harbor Galley and close off that entire stretch, which would make it very difficult to do construction updates of Tianas Bayou Adventure, obviously. But that's where they had the wall before. You'll recall that this area, Critter Country used to be a dead end in general a long time ago. Back in 2016 and before that, it was a dead end at Hungry Bear. And they've also had, walls up in this area before. Those walls were put up right around the fruit cart. But considering that Haunted Mansion is also closed and the entire, Splash Mountain is closed, it would seem understandable if they did put the wall up as far into the park as Harbor Galley. That is a possibility. As for the other side, Galaxy's Edge, I would expect the wall to be up at least at where the bridge for the Disneyland Railroad crosses over, at the entrance to the land. Although, again, it could be possible that they put that wall all the way to near to the entrance to Rise of the Resistance in order to give guests the visual clue that there's no point in walking down that path. It's a dead end. If they put the wall at the bridge, the train bridge, then guests would probably walk all the way down there, realize it's a dead end, and have to come back. So there's a likely possibility that wall could go up just after the entrance to Rise of the Resistance. The queue space and all that would be open, but guests there would be greeted with construction walls as well, or just empty space. All of this will take place on July 8th. That's when Hungry Bear will close, Davy Crockett canoes, and the path, July 8th. That's about a month from now. And I would imagine those locations will stay closed along with the rest of Critter Country and Tianas Bayou Adventure until the whole thing is ready to open, hopefully sometime in September. Our next big story is courtesy of this monorail heading into the Tomorrowland station and bound for downtown Disney, where we can see things are progressing backstage behind the retail building. Still in the rebar phase on the ground there, but things are starting to take shape. Things are starting to look close to a finished product there. Scrim up still, obviously, at Parkside Market. Can't see anything in there now. This view is from the loading station at Monorail. You can see that they have installed some more architectural theming there, I guess. I don't know what to call that, the little arch there. We'll get back to that in a minute, but I want to stop by Earl's Sandwich, where we had talked about last week that this was possibly good news that they put those tables up. But somehow I missed the notice. Everybody would point it out. Dave, don't forget that they also installed those air conditioning units or vents right there above the windows as well. Those were new additions to this structure. So this thing is definitely going forward. Whether or not it includes Portos is up for debate. The rumors are gaining steam that Portos is dead, and that the reason why they're still going forward with this temporary structure here for Earl's is that they are going to now modify the La Brea Bakery to suit Earl's Sandwich's design goals, something perhaps similar to what they were going to build over at downtown Disney. So Earl's could be staying at that La Brea location, but they could wind up, modifying that structure to suit Earl's Sandwich's needs. So they're still going to be having a temporary location here. That is still going forward, it looks like. Latest look at Din Tai Fung in downtown Disney. Not the big story here. On our way to getting some footage on the backside of the building, you can see that the path is open now. So we'll head around the backside of Din Tai Fung. There's that building there. And from my understanding, this bag check, the Sorcerer Hat Mickey bag check is going to be closed soon. They're going to be closing this. I don't know if it's a permanent closure or temporary, but that location could be closing soon. And what has opened is that, the one we've been watching on the Simba parking lot side of downtown Disney. That's Simba parking lot down there. We pan left, and you get this sort of desert landscape entrance into this bag check. I really like the way this looks, I have to tell you. This looks great. I know it's just bag check, but it's the prettiest bag check I've ever seen. Downtown Disney. Those are the entrance. And this looks great. Very retro, very mid-century modern. I really like the way that looks. I can't believe they did all that just for a bag check. Where I'm walking now, I'm trying to keep the camera away from the actual bag check procedures, but where I'm walking now, these are additional bag check stations that are behind those gates. Those gates, by the way, that was the vertical steel, as we talked about last week. That was the vertical steel that we saw them put up a couple months ago, and I was wondering if that was possibly new scanners. No, it is just the gates. I can confirm also that the bag check process is exactly the same as what is being done at every other bag check around the Disneyland Resort. No changes whatsoever there. It is exactly the same. On the other side of bag check are new restrooms. These also look great, mid-century modern design. You've got the breeze blocks out here in front. You got some color there added. The same sort of font or design for the sign that says restrooms on it. I mean, when's the last time you've seen such a lovingly curated restroom for downtown? This looks great. And obviously you can see it's attached to Din Tai Fung. If you were to go all the way to the rear of that spot, to the back of Din Tai Fung is where you'll find this restroom. And I really like the way that this is coming together. We don't even see anything. There's more going on behind those walls. Behind those walls to the right is actually where they were supposed to be building Earl's Sandwich. Earl's Sandwich is supposed to be on the other side of that wall right there. So here's the path in, and this is great. This is great. I wish the rest of downtown Disney could look like this. This is great. We haven't been able to really fully appreciate that or realize that because of all the construction walls and the scrim and everything has been unfinished. But the more things that they open up like this, the more it goes on, the more I love it. But then again, I'm a nerd for mid-century modern. That's like my favorite architectural period ever. So that's downtown Disney, looking good. Let's keep going to Tortilla Joe's, where we have our first signs of demo happening. Well, I'm assuming there's this little, scrim set up here out in front of the entrance, and that's it. But it's the beginning. They have to demo everything inside first before they can start demoing the building. So we won't be seeing much as far as that goes for a little while still. But it's starting. It's happening. And by the way, for those wondering how I know they're going to demo, I don't know per se, but Disney has said that they're putting in 2 new restaurants in this location. But the words that they used were that they were going to be built on the footprint of the Tortilla Joe's location, not in the Tortilla Joe's location. The footprint means the existing land. That tells me they are going to destroy that building and build something new. 2 locations, though, 2 restaurants in the space of 1. I heard a rumor not long ago that Ballast Point wasn't long for downtown Disney. We're going to keep an eye on this. Ballast Point, the actual brewery, may be going out of business, ? I haven't been able to verify that. Marceline's is still closed, waiting for it to expand into the dress shop. Stand by. California's Soul is closed. That location is gone, done. It is no more. Something new and exciting is coming soon. Stand by for that. I don't think, though, that that's going to be Wonderground. That's just my guess. We asked that question, where are they going to put Wonderground last week? Backside of Indiana Jones ride show building. Scrim and scaffold. I'm going to assume paint. More green paint. Or something like that. Let's get back into Disneyland. Let's get on the train. Let's get into some good stuff here. Let's take a look at what's happening at Critter Country and Tianas Bayou Adventure. But first, I don't know if I've mentioned this in the past. Have we been talking about this? Nothing is happening The scrim and scaffold are still up around that the station that was burned during the fire. There's no movement here. I could see behind the scrim or through the scrim a little bit, and I'm not seeing any kind of work being done here, but it is behind scrim and scaffold now. All right, here we go. What's happening at Critter Country? Lots of staging. Look at all the materials on the ground there. They have finished digging up whatever they're doing. That looks to be done. What those pallets are for, I can't tell what's on those pallets. Because can anybody identify what those white rectangular bags are? Is that soil or concrete, like precrete or quickcrete or whatever they call that? But otherwise, not a lot to observe here. We're still waiting for any kind of indication of what they're doing to the front, to the entrance of that building. And there again, our crew's working on the queue at Winnie the Pooh. So, I wonder what they are up to in there, man. That fascinates me. Winnie the Pooh queue is delightful. I love it. So if they want to make that better, that's fine with me. So that's the back side. We'll come back around. I do a lap and a half. And while we were waiting to exit through the New Orleans Square Station, I thought I would take a peek through here to see if I could find anything happening. Stay tuned, because that situation will develop, but I didn't see anything in that shot. So we'll look towards the Briar Patch side of things at Critter Country. They've put plastic bags over the track there. That could be for water. They have finished digging. It looks like there were huge hills here. Not just a couple days ago. There was a couple of giant hills to the point where I thought I was going to have to name them, but they're already gone. So they've been making quick work of whatever it is they're doing down here in front of the Briar Patch. It looks like they've also filled in quite a bit of what they've dug up back there. So that could be where the dirt is gone. Where those two vehicles are in the back to the right of the Briar Patch, I want to say that they have put some dirt into that space there. We'll see. When we drive by on the Mark Twain in a little bit, we'll try to see if we can see if there's still a huge, there was a big hole there before. Looks like also they're doing a little digging in front of the Briar Patch. There's a little ditch dug in there. You can see some vertical stakes put up around that ditch to kind of give people a heads up, visual clue that something's going on there. Quick work happening here at Critter Country. They're making quick work of this. At least I think they are. It seems like they are. It's not as big a work site as Haunted Mansion or Tiana's, but it does seem to be going pretty quickly. So that's Critter Country from the train. Quick stop at Rancho. We talked recently about them changing the menu. They got rid of the red enchiladas. Rice and beans now have to be ordered on the side. I tried one of the new menu items. This is the Sonora Bowl. I'm assuming it's the Sonora Burrito, but in a bowl. It didn't look good to me when I was served, and that turned out to be accurate. Oh boy, no, I cannot recommend that. Not very good at all. That's like the most okayest thing ever. Just rice and beans, a little bit of salsa. Eat that, I guess, if you want a fairly inexpensive meal that'll fill you up and you don't want to be hungry anymore. Across the way, Golden Horseshoe. We may have mentioned recently that there are no shows happening inside this building. That is still the case. I just decided to pop in here, and I think I'm going to keep mentioning this from time to time until this gets resolved, but there are no shows happening at the Golden Horseshoe still. It is show free. I will, though, mention, this is kind of old news, but I've never talked about it in the construction report. Mobile order pickups is now self-service. You got a little sign here, hey, mobile orders over here. They set up this little cabinet, as it were, and you just, whatever your number is, you go in there and you find, hey, I'm number 2. Those are my 2 plates of food right there. You pick up your own mobile order. All right, well, the Mark Twain is right here, so we'll board and see what's happening now at the Haunted Mansion. Now, I teased in the intro that I thought perhaps they were still digging, but that there could be a plot twist Watch what happens here. I went through a roller coaster of emotions when filming this, and hopefully you guys can participate in that with me. But here, look at this. You've got a bunch of vertical rebar. This is definitely a good sign of things to come, that they are getting ready to build something. Usually that vertical rebar, usually that's a sign of some kind of concrete being installed here. So stay tuned for that. That's going to start happening in short order, I would assume. Over the wall to the right of the entrance to Haunted Mansion, situation normal there. And then there's the pet cemetery in front of the brick wall. And there's the retaining wall that we've been watching them modify over the past couple of weeks. This looks quite a bit like what we saw last week, although I am actually seeing less of that fall protection, less of that orange netting, actually. It was all over the place. As this scene comes into view, as the boat moves to the right and we pan more to the left, there was quite a bit more orange netting there last week, unless it's further out of frame to the left. Looks like they still have to fill in whatever that space is there between the wood wall there and that netting. It looks like there's still a gap down there. I do not know what those two planks are for. Probably nothing. There's some more of that orange fall protection netting, but yeah, not near as much as what we saw last week. A little bit of dirt accumulated there. I'm noticing still in the rear, behind the brick wall, you can see that the fall protection is still there as well as that fence. So they are still actively working on that space. Gosh, okay. They are still actively working on that space back there behind the brick wall. Like, when are they ever going to get anywhere? I don't know. It just, sometimes I get, optimistic, and then sometimes I'm just like, nothing's happening. Tianas Bayou Adventure. We'll have some more ground shots from here in a minute. But there's a look from the Mark Twain. And then Critter Country, again, obviously from the Mark Twain. Opposite angle as to what we saw from the Disneyland Railroad. But first, let's pan to the left. Looks about as we left it last week as well. Still some foliage left to plant, it looks like, but they are, this is starting to look very, very swampy. Look at all those big leaves back there. Those giant leaves. And some flowers as well. The flowers down there. Ooh. We'll pan back towards Critter Country to look at that area next to the briar patch. When we went through on the train, I thought it possible that they had already refilled or filled in a lot of that area with dirt. Oh, there's still a huge gap there, yeah. There's still a pretty big gap back there next to the briar patch. It could be that they did fill in some of it, but they still got a ways to go. Either they're gonna, I don't think they're gonna build it back up again. Actually, yeah, they're probably gonna finish that and make this look like that lower fourth of that wall look more like the rest of the mountain. So the surface is complete. They put the dirt back to the surface to create a new ground level. One last shot through the briar patch roof line. That's in the lower left third. Into the mountain. I don't know what I'm looking at specifically here, but I just I love shooting this mountain, so I just get as many shots as I can and just take what you want out of it, observe what you can. But there's an Imagineer and a construction worker sharing some thoughts about the future of this attraction. Wonderful. And we'll get back on the ground, take a look at the mountain from the secret path. And we got a crew of 3 over here working on that new development, that new little outcropping of rock that's going to peek over the drop on its right as you come down. they've been going out of their way to create that new situation that did not exist before. Looking at the top of the drop, and I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but the little wires or whatever that we thought were going to be holding the bottles are gone. I mean, they could still be, but they're not there now. We have a new artisan on the scene. I think that's a spray paint that she's applying to little areas around the mountain. Here's those guys again. Okay, that's a paintbrush. He's applying it. Golly, look at how, it's just incredible. They're just down there hand brushing whatever it is. I mean, it's not paint per se. It's more texture than anything else, I think, but still hand painted. Just imagine the whole mountain is like that. And here we got the guys finishing the lift hill barn. All those shingles, those are all brand new. And they're on the rear side of that barn, probably doing more of the same. That's Tianas Bayou Adventure this week. We've got 2 videos of ride-through footage. One complete, one you can watch right now if you haven't seen it already, a before and after of some clips that were included in the Imagineering, or so we call it Imagineering episode on YouTube. Disney has also released a full ride-through of the Magic Kingdom version of Tianas Bayou Adventure, which we are in the process of doing a comparison on that as well. So if I haven't published that yet, stay tuned. It's coming soon. But we're here. It's here. Tianas Bayou Adventure is all but done at the Magic Kingdom, and we're just standing by for things to happen here at Disneyland as well. For now, let's catch up on a little more on what's happening at Haunted Mansion. We've got okay, is this guy digging? I feel like that guy was digging back there. I mean, I'm certain they're not just getting started on that gift shop, as we talked about last week, that it's being built off-site. But, I mean, I guess maybe they're getting the foundation ready there for that. Here's another digger. By the way, look at all that vertical rebar back there. That's what we were talking about before. A little bit of dirt as well, but that's a lot of vertical rebar. They're building... that's about the spot where that beautiful ivy, I don't know, that landscaped area there as you walk up the steps into the Disneyland Railroad. So it could be that they are rebuilding that. That's what that is. They're rebuilding that space, that landscaped area. And then here we go. We got 2 diggers back there. Are they still digging? I mean, man. Tell me you're not still digging back there, you guys. And yeah, more. That's just 2 handfuls of dirt there. Ay. All right. Let's see what else we can find elsewhere around the park. I mentioned that there could be a plot twist to this story. We'll just stand by and see. We're actually going to head past Tiana's place. Get a little jazz music on our way. In order to see this view from the Disneyland Railroad steps, I wasn't able to get a decent enough look from the trains. So I stopped by again, and there's another digger. Wow. It does look flatter. It does look like they have filled in a lot of gaps. I've seen pictures from a couple weeks ago of there being a lot of trenches throughout what's the space that is in the left third of frame. That looks like it's pretty, evened out now. That looks filled in. We got some cinder blocks there. What are those for? Well, that could be for putting around the rebar, perhaps. I'm not sure how that works. Although I thought they just poured cement around it after putting up some forms, but we'll see. There's more of the vertical rebar right there as well. And then we'll go to the Adventureland Treehouse, where, by the way, the buckets have stopped working. So that's going to be part of the story again, but we're going to look over the wall here to see if we can't spot what's happening with those earth movers. You can see them working and moving dirt in the top right third of the frame over there behind the tree. I'm going to go down another level to see if we can't get a flatter look. And there he is again, that digger. Okay, he's got a handful of dirt. Yes. Yes. Okay, so we've got one guy moving dirt. The white rig is moving dirt from one spot into the bigger pile. And then the other digger is scooping the dirt that the white rig is moving. He's scooping up the dirt, spinning it around. And if I'm not mistaken, it is behind. He's moving the arm. That brick wall right there is what separates the rear queue from the front queue in the pet cemetery. He's moving dirt into. He's not digging. He's putting dirt back. Right? Grab a scoop. Okay, so he didn't dig that dirt up. That's coming from the pile. And I wasn't positive if I had my bearings right in terms of whether or not it was behind that wall, but that is absolutely, he's now behind that brick wall. They're putting dirt back into the rear queue. For me, this is kind of like the tables that they set up in front of the Earl of Sandwich. It's a small thing, it's a small detail, but for me, it means a lot. It means that they're done digging at least in the rear section, and because we saw there's still fall protection back there. They're done digging in the rear section, and now they're putting the dirt back. You like to see that as far as progress goes. So here we sit on June 1st as I record this, and they're putting dirt back into the rear queue at the Haunted Mansion. Gotta say, man, I gotta say, that's encouraging. They're putting the dirt back. I like that better than them digging it up still. Plus, we've got rebar showing up over there in the garden area in that space in front of the Disneyland Railroad, which suggests that they're going to be doing some concrete building there very soon. This went from ominous to like, God, we're still here, we're still digging, to no, this is moving forward, I think. This is good. This is good. I can't wait for next week. I can't wait for next week. I hope you guys can either. Stay with us. If you have a minute, check out our State of Disneyland report that we put out last week. Very fun day. We had a very enjoyable afternoon. And obviously check out our Tianas Bayou Adventure before and after coverage from that footage from, we call it Imagineering. Otherwise, we'll see you next time, guys. Be safe, be kind, and fresh baked.